Welcome to this India Today's Diplomats Roundtable. We're being joined by three prominent diplomats who are serving in New Delhi and have been working tirelessly to ensure that coronavirus pandemic that affects one and all is fought not just in their own country, but also helping out in fighting it and ensuring that their own nationals in India are safe and secure. I'm being joined by the High Commissioner of Australia to India, High Commissioner Barry O'Farrell, Ambassador De Luca of Italy, and Ambassador Dr. Ahmed Al-Banna of the United Arab Emirates. Let me begin with you, Ambassador De Luca. Italy has been one of the worst sufferers when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic. How do you think the world has grappled with the entire issue, and how do you think Italy has managed the entire coronavirus pandemic?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm so happy to join this event. Yes, Italy has been the country most affected in Europe and after China in the world by coronavirus. In Italy, we have quite extended health infrastructure. Nevertheless, the intensity of the pandemic has created a lot of very difficult situation, especially in some part of Italy, Lombardia, Veneto, Emilia-Romagna. Now we are in a very different situation. The contagion has improved in the sense that the index of contagion that was more than 3%, 3 times, now is 0.7. That means that has given us the possibility to reopen partially, at least, the economic activity. The same day that in India, at the 3rd phase of lockdown, in Italy, we had the 2nd phase of lockdown, the 4th of May. We reopened all the manufacturing chain, and we had 8 million workers at work last Monday. That means we have reopened all the productive activity. How we have been able to improve the situation? With a severe lockdown, with a period of physical distances, that was the first measures introduced in Europe and also all over the world after China. Very difficult, especially in a democratic society, to adopt this measure and to ask people to follow this discipline. And I have to tell you that the Italians were very disciplined in implementing these measures. This is a very important point.
Yeah, but then there has been a difference in the way every country has handled it. We've seen how the Indian administration has put the entire country on a complete lockdown, unlike other countries. High Commissioner Barry O'Farrell, if you could come in and weigh in as to how Australia has tried to battle it. We know that Prime Minister Morrison did have to receive some flack over certain statements that he made when it comes to foreigners who continue to remain in Australia. But those are concerns because he did not want spread of the virus.
You're absolutely right. Every country's handled this contagion differently, but we've shared a number of features that we see here in India, which is quick, decisive, early action to not only battle COVID, but to mitigate the impact of the lockdown on the most vulnerable in our community. So, like India, we put movement restrictions and social distancing measures in place early. Like India, which is also a federation, we have ensured that the states have had a say in the decision-making. In Australia, that's been formalised by a national cabinet. And we've seen that citizens have responded to the democratic call and persuasion to adhere to what inevitably changed their lives. So we haven't had a formal lockdown, but we've had governments urging them to stay indoors for those at risk to be isolated and not to gather in groups of more than 2. And that has flattened the curve. And we're now in the situation as in Italy, where we're starting to focus again on re-establishing some of the employment that was lost. And the Prime Minister today announced a 3-phase process in relaxing the restrictions that have helped enormously in flattening that curve.
Ambassador Al-Banna, it has been, it is a very important country when it comes to how many Indians are really in the UAE. And the Vande Bharat mission that launched yesterday began with the United Arab Emirates. So there is a lot at stake for India in ensuring that when the repatriation happens, it happens smoothly from UAE as well. What has been the sense of your administration in how things have been handled, not just in UAE, but particularly to do with Indians living in the UAE?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank you for having me amongst those distinguished ambassadors and high commissioners. I would like to also send my greetings to the High Commissioner of Australia, my colleague, and also the Ambassador of Italy, and to yourself, Gita. The coronavirus, the COVID-19, knows no border. So therefore, you see it every single part of this world. We have been affected just like anywhere else in the world. We have had several phases. Phase one was the voluntary lockdown. And during the voluntary lockdown, we found out that there are no commitment to the voluntary lockdown due to the fact that, as you said, we have many different nationalities in the UAE, and therefore the different cultures and the different way of thinking and so on, made it a little bit difficult to control that. The second phase was the complete lockdown, and the complete lockdown helped a lot the UAE authorities, our health authorities on the federal level, and also our health authorities on the local level in the Emirates. Now we are in the third phase, where there is a lockdown, but according to certain timing, only when necessities, only for vital professions and all that, they are allowed to move freely. And we are at a stage where we were successful in controlling the widespread of COVID-19. As you mentioned, yes, UAE hosts more than 3.2 million Indians, and due to the lockdown of all the airports in India, a lot of them got stranded in the UAE. A lot of those people who were transiting from Europe and from America and from many different parts of the world through UAE, all of a sudden they found themselves in the UAE stranded. They're not able to go back home. We worked very closely with the Indian authorities, with the embassy here, the Indian ambassador, with the consul general in Dubai, of course, with the Ministry of External Affairs in India, to make sure that those people are well taken care of, and they do not get affected severely, either by the virus or due to them just getting stranded at a certain place. The first flight of evacuation of Indian nationals started actually yesterday. More than 2 flights. One flight from Abu Dhabi and one flight from Dubai, and we have a schedule. This will be ongoing. Plus, there are certain other formats that we are looking into it with the Indian authorities for the evacuation and for the help of transporting those Indians. According to my information, the website that was created by the Ministry of External Affairs or by the Embassy of India in the UAE, more than 270,000 people have registered in that website. And now there are preparations to evacuate at least 50 to 60,000 from what I know at the moment. And it is an ongoing process. And I want to assure one thing, that we have assured the Indian authorities, not only Indians, any other, all nationalities, all other nationalities who got stranded in the UAE and wanted to go back home. We assured them that those people who do not want to leave, they will stay. We assured that those people who want to leave, we will make sure that they don't leave just like that. They go through the proper testing. We make sure that their test results are negative. Therefore, they are allowed to travel. Those people who their results shows positive, we will host them, we will treat them, we will make sure that they are okay, and then we send them back home.
Well, Dr. Al-Banna, again, with the UAE, things are a little different. The collaboration does not only have to be central government focused, it also has to be with the states where you have a lot of states. Such as Kerala. So was there a difference in the way you handled it? How do you think Modi administration handled the entire situation? And were you in touch with and engaged with states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, where there are a lot of where there's a lot of connect between UAE and India?
Yeah, well, let me tackle this from two different perspectives. Perspective number one, in reference to the pandemic in India and how it has been, taken care of and how it's been controlled. Looking at the population of India, second largest in the world, 1.3 billion. Looking at the way and the professionalism that took place in order to lock down. No cross-border, that actually, and the coordination between the states, I think that worked very, very well and helped not to see big, huge numbers affected by the COVID-19. That is the first perspective. The second perspective, we finished the evacuation of our UAE nationals. I think we were the very first countries that was able to organize 2 flights out of India to the United Arab Emirates. At the very beginning of the COVID-19 spread, we had somewhere around 1,500 UAE nationals in many different parts of India. Before the total lockdown of the airports, we advised a lot of those people to travel back home, and most of them did. After the total lockdown, we found out that we still have about 107 UAE nationals stranded, specifically in 3 major cities, Hyderabad and Mumbai and Cochin, and some they were also in Delhi. On 20th of April, we organized a flight that flew from the UAE to Delhi, and then from Delhi to Mumbai, evacuated the people, UAE nationals in Delhi, and then onward to Mumbai, and then from Mumbai back to UAE. That was the very first flight. The second flight from the UAE to Cochin, and then from Cochin to Hyderabad, and Hyderabad back to UAE. Here I should stress on and I should thank the Ministry of External Affairs. I should thank the COVID cell working under the higher committee for all their support and for their assistance in making it easy. It was not easy to gather all those numbers from one place, making a meeting point, and then to have what we call multi-destination flight from one city to another. All this was a big, great support from government of India, and we are thankful to them. The corona incident actually opened a new chapter in terms of international cooperation, in terms of coordinating efforts, not only to evacuate our own people or whatever nationals from to, but also to look into how we coordinate our efforts to fight this, how we coordinate our efforts to coordinate. I should also thank government of India for giving us permission and for exporting the hydrochloroquine and the hydroxychloroquine medicine. More than 7.5 tablets have been approved for export from India to UAE. So we are grateful to that also. So that's what I'm saying. It has opened a lot of different doors in terms of cooperation.
Well, it has. And while we speak about cooperation, Ambassador Al-Banna, there has been another area and aspect that has opened up. High Commissioner sir, we're talking about how the world is now looking at a changed global order on the other side of the pandemic. The coronavirus pandemic has also raised a lot of questions. While there is conversation about cooperation, there is also conversation about who really is responsible. Now, we know that Australia has been in the forefront when it comes to trying to get to the bottom of who done it. We see the questions being raised, whether it's with the World Health Organization or the recent dossier that speaks of the origins in China and China not being transparent. Your views, sir, on how China has hit back and said that there would be consequences if you continue to pursue investigations.
Look, we've made clear that threats of economic coercion are not the way in which anybody should conduct diplomacy, particularly in the middle of a pandemic when, as my colleagues have rightly said, we should be coming together to collaborate and provide confidence to our citizens about the way we can tackle the COVID-19 problem. But can I just make clear that Australia's call for an international review of the World Health Organization at a time when countries have come to grips with COVID is not about apportioning blame, but about ensuring that when the next pandemic comes along, as unfortunately it will, we have an international organisation responsible for health that is fit for purpose. And so what we're arguing for is a review to assess the genesis and spread of the disease, the way in which different countries have responded in battling the disease, how information's been shared amongst countries to assist in those battles. And finally, the contribution itself of the World Health Organization in the global battle against COVID-19. It is about ensuring that the World Health Organization going forward is strengthened, that it's more transparent, and that it's fit for purpose. Because ultimately, as this terrible disease has shown, these diseases affect us all, whether we're in the Pacific, the Middle East, or in Europe, regardless of our religion, regardless of our colour. And we need multinational organisations operating that have the confidence of all of us that the next time we can do this, we can prevent and mitigate the disease even better.
Could you throw some light on the dossier that has been prepared by the Australian administration, particularly with inputs from the intelligence agencies?
Well, all we know at this stage is that the first outbreak of this disease was in Wuhan. Others have made claims about whether it's man-made or not. They're not issues for us. Our issue is how do we strengthen the World Health Organization so that the next time there's a pandemic, the world is better prepared and it is better able to prevent and mitigate the impact, because we never want to again see the deaths that we've seen in our countries. And we're here today with the Ambassador of Italy, who, as he's made clear, that country has taken a terrible toll. And we just want to ensure when the next pandemic comes along, no country has to go through the same experience.
Well, Ambassador De Luca, indeed, the loss that your country has suffered is humongous. It's huge, irreparable damage in many ways than one. But coming back to the economics of it, we know that Italy is trying to now look at how it is going to revive itself, and there are rules and regulations that all of Europe is looking at, in which certainly there is one aspect that has to do with hostile takeovers of companies that are collapsing. We've seen China take over or buy stakes in many of the European countries. How is Italy handling this issue of hostile takeover?
You rightly raised this point. Now it's time to discuss about economic recovery all over the world. And our country is export-led economy. 31% of the GDP in Italy is export. Of course, we are part of the global value chain. We are part of the global trade. We have to preserve the capacity of the global value chain and of the global trade. If there are temporary measures to, let's say, interfere in the global trade, we have to remove when the situation improves. So we are ready to coordinate our efforts in Italy, in Europe, all over the world, because this is time of transparency, this is time of collaboration, this is time of coordination. No country can recover itself. We need a global effort. We have to relaunch multilateralism, as also the Indian government is promoting, and the role of the international organization and the global trade rules. That's the way to go out. And we have made also a great efforts to ensure welfare system to protect jobs and workers in Italy in this very critical situation. Also thanks to European Union resource, because we have to work all together. We have to help each other. We have to also address the vulnerability of some fragile states. This is a global issue. This is not an issue for a country or for a continent. It's the issue of the world today.
Are you specifically looking at how to ensure that hostile takeovers of Italian companies do not take place?
Yes, in Italy, we have one of the most advanced system of golden power. Golden power means a defense against attack to strategic industrial asset. We have this measure in Italy, we have this measure in Europe, and I think that now also in India there are some measures to protect some strategic industrial asset, always consistent with the rules of the global trade. But when we come to industrial strategic interest and industrial strategic asset, we have to protect the capacity of each country, of each continent all over the world.
Right. On that note, gentlemen, many thanks for joining us here in India today. It was indeed a pleasure. This is the first round of our Diplomats Roundtable, and we will have many such roundtables where we'll be getting foreign diplomats to come speak to us, not just about the policies in their own countries, but also how there has been cooperation between India and their country. Many thanks for joining us here.
Thank you, Vita, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.